Hello everyone and welcome back to the Synergy Sanctum. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here at the Synergy Sanctum, we specialize in all things related to Magic the Gathering with a specific focus on deck building. So I aim to show you very quick deck techs that'll show you all of the cards in the deck and how they work together to ultimately achieve the goals of that deck. If you're not already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. And we also have a sister channel now, so head on over to Commander Coliseum and check out their content as well. And for today's deck tech, we have for you Jan Jansen, Chaos Crafter, an EDH combo focused deck. Definitely a mid-range build. I had a more competitive version originally, but this still gets it done at this mid-range build and has a lot of consistency with draw and benefiting off of what Jan is doing. So Jan's ability is he has haste, and he can either tap to sack an artifact creature to make 2 treasures, or tap to sack a non-creature artifact to create 2 colorless construct creature tokens. So he can construct 2 little friends for you as well. So the goal here is to make this happen as quickly as possible, to get additional benefits off of the artifacts that we are sacking, and to eventually combo off with an infinite combo that we'll go into. TCG market value is $193 to $245, and our land count for this deck is 33, with 14 of those being basics and 19 of those being non-basics, because we are very low to the ground and we are playing a ton of draw to make sure this engine keeps churning. So how are we getting this done? So here is that infinite combo I was talking about in the win con for the deck. So the goal here is to turn Jan into an artifact by either using one of the 4 cards on the right, so Liquid Metal Torque, Liquid Metal Coating, Silver Skin Armor, or Ashnod's Transmogrant. So any one of these can turn a permanent into an artifact, and then you start being able to do these things infinitely with Jan, because you're going to get to untap him with either Clock of Omens or with Draw Scorpion. So Clock of Omens lets you untap him if he's an artifact as long as you tap 2 others, which conveniently he is making 2 artifacts every time he does this. And then Draw Scorpion does the same thing, but it requires the sack outlet. So you'll want to make sure you have a sack outlet out on the field, and you're sacking that artifact creature that Jan is making, the constructs, right? And then he is untapping Jan, so you can keep that engine going. So really broken here. Very, very easy way to make this happen pretty consistently. You just need one of either Clock of Omens or Draw Scorpion. And there's a ton of tutoring in this deck as well to get them out consistently. So payoffs from Jan, we kind of talked about this, but we've got the Enter the Battlefield damage painters that we're running here. So Reckless Fireweaver and Ingenious Artillerist all pain whenever an artifact comes in. So Jan's making 2 at a time, so it's going to be 2 damage. Impact Tremors is specific to creatures coming in. Crime Novelist, when you're sacking an artifact, which we'll be doing a lot of, he's getting bigger and making you red mana to keep going. Rose Room Treasurers, making 2 treasures off of the first 2 creatures that enter. New one from Edge of Eternities is Weapons Manufacturing. So if you're sacking a non-token artifact, which we've got a ton of those coming, you're making a artifact token named Munitions that when that dies, it does 2 damage to any target. So really broken there. And then we are running things that benefit off of this sacrificing, like Jury, Master of the Review, and Mayhem Devil. Jury gets big, and then when Jury dies, he does that damage equal to its power at any target. Mayhem Devil is doing it off of every sack. And then Mahadi and Pitiless Plunderer are making you treasures off of creatures dying. We've got additional sacrifice outlets in the deck with Ashnod's Altar and Krark-Clan Ironworks, each making you 2 colorless mana, depending on what you sack. So Krark-Clan doesn't care if it's an artifact, it's happening. Ashnod's Altar does want the creatures. Same with Goblin Bombardment. You could do a damage off of sacking a creature. And then Westvale Abbey is one of the lands we're running, because we're going to easily have 5 of those construct tokens by mid to late game. We can turn those into that 9/7 scary and destructible demon that Westvale Abbey becomes. And then we've got additional untapping in the deck, so we're running things like Drum Bellower and Sting to make it happen consistently on everyone else's turn. So Drum Bellower at everyone else's untap, Sting at every combat, so you're untapping Jan, and then you're being able to keep his engine going on other turns. And then if we happen to get to that infinite mana type deal with the Clock of Omens combo, making a bunch of treasures, we can sink all of that into the Umbral Mantle, and then Jan can untap with this as well. And then we've got other good stuff in the deck. So Jan's going to be making treasures. He's going to be making artifact tokens. And Academy Manufacturer and Stride Hanger Automaton each double up on those creations. So Academy Manufacturer is going to make you clues and food as well as treasures. And then Stride Hanger is making you thopters off of every artifact you create. So really broken here. Servo Schematic is bringing in a friend when it enters or dies. Zorn is doubling up on our treasures. Osgur is getting you a little recursion by turning something you sacked into 2 copies of it on the field. Wormcoil Engine's turning into little baby worms when he dies. Treasure Maps getting us treasures. Nimblewright Schematics doing the same as the Servo Schematic. Mycosynth Wellspring's getting you lands, and Prize Statues getting you treasures. And then more good stuff in the deck. So yeah, we're running a Soul Ring, obviously. We've got lots of tutors, like I said, with Reckless Handling and Oswald Fiddlebender. We're running Goblin Welder because we are going to be sacking a lot, and we can choose to return those non-token artifacts to the battlefield at the cost of one of those tokens that Jan's making. Gandalf the White is doubling up on these artifacts entering or leaving if they're causing triggered abilities, which, as you've heard this whole time, they are. Silent Arbiter to pillow fort us a bit and prevent attacks. Anguish Unmaking and Dispark for targeted removal. Professional Face Breakers getting you pseudo draw for sacking a treasure. And then we've got Platinum Angel to delay the game and Ink Shield. So if someone happens to swing out at us and get through, you can play something like Ink Shield to make a bunch of flyers and win that way. And then tons of draw on the deck. Training Posts is kind of going with this whole theme of sacking artifacts and getting us draw. Takasha's Welcome's getting us it when those constructs enter once a turn. Stormclaw Rager's getting us it by sacking a creature. Thopter Shop is getting you to draw when those artifact creatures die once a turn. We've got Skull Clamp to put it on them and get 2 draw. Expected kind of draw spells here with Unexpected Windfall and Painful Truths. Mystic Forge is letting you play artifacts off the top. And then even more draw on the deck. So we got an Esper Sentinel, because he's an artifact creature. He'll work well here. Benny Brax is doing it at end step if we made a token. All the other expected spells you'd expect here to draw at the cost of a discard or sacking something. And then we've got Hardened Tactician, can sack a token, which we have a ton of those to draw. Collector's Vault's giving us a draw, but also giving us a treasure. Morbid Opportunist, if any creature dies, you get to draw once a turn, so that's really good. Ichor Wellspring getting entered or sacked draws, same with Mephitic dropped. And then Lochiel is getting you draw when artifacts enter once a turn, and also preventing damage that would be dealt to those attacking artifact creatures. We're not attacking a ton, but if you do, Lochiel's protecting everybody. And then the artifact lands in the deck, so there's many times I'm playing this deck where I will sack one of these lands off of Jan's ability when he first comes out to start getting that engine going, because we are going to get the treasures and all of that going. So all of the expected ones from Mirrodin and Modern Horizons 2, as well as Darksteel's Citadel. And with that, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video, and if you enjoyed that video, feel free to share it out with any friends who might find value in it as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good one.